A concert hall freezes, a pianist sits down, hands hovering above the keys, one breath, then a violent explosion of notes. Too fast, too dense, too precise. The left hand jumps across the keyboard and misses by a fraction. Everything collapses. Silence. This isn't a mistake. This is what happens when you attempt Scarbo by Maurice Ravel. A piece so extreme, even elite pianists approach it with fear. So the question is, why is this the one piece pianists fear more than any other? In the world of concert pianists, it is more than a piece. It is a legend, a dare. Maurice Ravel wrote it in 1908, vowing to outdo every technical stunt that came before and to surpass even Balakarev's Islami, the old Everest of piano terror. Scarbo became the new summit, and every pianist who faces it steps into a myth that is bigger than any single performance. The public image is pure bravado, flawless hands, a calm face, impossible speed. But behind the curtain, even the elite hesitate. Jean-Yves Thibaudet, one of the most fearless modern virtuosos, has called Scarbo the psychological wall, a barrier that mocks even the best. In masterclasses and interviews, he admits the fear never fades. The piece does not just test skill, it hunts for weakness, waiting for a single slip. Ravel himself once said he wanted Scarbo to be more diabolical than Islami. The result is a work that has become the cultural yardstick for pianistic courage. To attempt Scarbo in public is to risk collapse in front of hundreds, maybe thousands. But the world keeps watching, hungry for that moment when control meets chaos. When the myth proves itself or shatters in silence. Scarbo isn't just a mountain of notes. It's a machine built to break pianists across 5 axes: speed, endurance, reach, density, and coordination. Each is a world of danger by itself. Scarbo attacks all 5 at once. Speed, blinding. Passages race past at tempos that push the limits of nerve and muscle. Endurance, relentless. The torrent barely lets up, forcing hands and forearms into a state of constant tension. Reach, inhuman. 2-octave jumps, sometimes more, demand the hands stretch and snap back with no warning. Density, overwhelming. The score packs so many notes into each second that even the air feels crowded. Coordination, merciless. 6 independent voices can appear in a single bar, each demanding its own precision. One mistake is all it takes because this piece does not forgive. The illusion is seamless, a perfect wall of sound, but underneath, the pianist is fighting a 5-front war. Even the score conspires. Some editions beam grace notes together, hiding the true complexity, while others break them apart, exposing every strand of the trap. What looks like bravado is really survival. Scarbo isn't just hard, it is engineered to overload the human system. That is the reality behind Scarbo's opening assault, fingers forced into a velocity zone where the margin for error vanishes. In measures 19 and 20, 6 voices tangle at once, each line demanding its own identity, each finger a soldier in a private war. The right hand splits into 3, tremolo, melody, filigree, while the left hand claws at the bass. There is no hiding. Every strand must be clear, or the texture collapses into chaos. The score does not just challenge speed, it weaponizes reach. 23 times, the hand must leap 2 octaves or more, snapping from the low shadows to the high wire in less than a heartbeat. In measure 34, the right hand jumps 3.5 octaves, landing on a single note with the thumb. There is no time to breathe. Recovery is a luxury. 9 bars in the entire piece offer even half a beat of rest. The rest is pure onslaught. Piano therapists track the toll. Surface EMG data shows forearm muscles firing above 30% of maximal voluntary contraction during Scarbo's fastest runs, levels that trigger fatigue, microtears, and pain in less than a minute. Dr. Elena Miller, who treats injured concert pianists, warns that when the wrist extensor EMG crosses that threshold, the risk of damage spikes. The body starts to fail before the mind can catch up. Each of these numbers is a warning. Scarbo is not just difficult, it is engineered to overload the human system, speed, density, reach, and coordination all at once. No room for drift, no room for doubt. The pressure builds, second by second, note by note, until something, muscle, nerve or mind, gives way. A single error in Scarbo is never just a missed note. It is the first domino. One slip, a late thumb, a blurred leap, and the entire structure starts to tilt. Reaction time stretches, the brain scrambles to recover, but the piece is already racing ahead. In motor control labs, researchers track this spiral. After a single mistake, timing variability grows by nearly 1% with every miss. Within 10 seconds, the gap can widen by 15 milliseconds, enough to throw a tightly wound passage into chaos. In the practice room, the effect is merciless. A pianist starts strong, hands locked to the metronome, every voice clear. Then a single tremor in the left hand. The next leap lands fractionally late. The right hand tightens, fingers start to stumble, and the mind splits, half chasing the next note, half replaying the last disaster. The room fills with fragments, a rushed bass, a smeared trill, a moment of silence where the melody should be. The illusion of control shatters. Scarbo does not just punish error, it multiplies it, feeding off hesitation and fatigue. Physiologists call this the error cascade. The body tries to correct, but as tension rises, nerves misfire and muscles lose precision. The pianist's focus narrows to survival. Just finish, just hold on, just do not stop. Perfection is gone. Survival is all that is left. Because this piece does not forgive. One mistake is all it takes. Even the best trained hands can spiral in under 10 seconds. In Scarbo, collapse is not a question of if, but when. The only real defense is to adapt or to break. They build their own exits. In 1963, Vladimir Horowitz faced Scarbo's final cascade and made a choice. He dropped the tempo by 8 beats per minute, playing 138 instead of the blazing 146 he once dared in 1938. The waveform from the Sony Volts draws the line in cold data, a visible slowing, a deliberate retreat. Not defeat, strategy. The hands refuse to break, so the clock bends instead. Horowitz was the lion, refusing to let the piece dictate the terms. Survival is Marc-André Hamelin's silent rewriting of the rules. At bar 95, where the inner voice octave threatens collapse, he cuts it. One line gone, density thinned by a single stroke. Survival, not dogma. The score may demand all, but the body demands to last. Performance annotations from Hamelin's own hand show the omission, an unspoken admission that even the greatest must adapt or fall. These are not accidents. They are the blueprint of survival. The myth of literal perfection shatters here in the audio waveforms and in the margins of the score. At this level, the legends do not conquer Scarbo. They negotiate with it, bar by bar, second by second. Virtuosity in the world of Scarbo has been rewritten. The myth of flawless execution dies in the practice room, replaced by something harsher, the art of survival. Conservatory guidelines now teach triage, not heroics. A 10% drop in tempo, just enough to keep muscle and mind from snapping, becomes the difference between finishing and failing. Pedagogues speak plainly. Your responsibility is to last, not to impress. No audience can hear a broken tendon. The best teachers urge students to pull back before the edge. They prescribe tempo margins, micro breaks, and measure-by-measure adaptation. Scarbo's true lesson is that even the greatest hands must negotiate terms with the piece. The score is a blueprint, not a commandment. At this level, greatness is measured not by how close you get to perfection, but by how well you survive the storm. Every decision, every slight reduction in speed, every omitted inner voice is a refusal to let the piece decide when you break. Perfection is not the goal. Survival is. Tonight, concert halls still brace for Scarbo's storm. This piece attacks all 5 at once. One mistake is all it takes, because this piece does not forgive. At this level, talent is not enough. Even genius has limits. Perfection is not the goal. Survival is. What would you risk for greatness?